Before we start, I think everybody wants to know the kitten's name is now Sushi, according to the poll. On to the story. So keep on going with your silly dream by Piter on AO3. This fic may include suicidal thoughts. That is your warning. Chapter 19. The Eraserhead Interlude 2. Aizawa scrubbed a hand down his grimy face, wishing nothing more than a shower and a good night's sleep. Alas, here he was, 5:07 a.m., waiting until his roommate walked out of the station. Sure, Shota could just go ahead home, but, well, Shinso had texted 6 words. Sorry in advance. Please hurry home. His son, well, Shota hadn't technically adopted him yet, so the paperwork term was foster son of 4 months, never texted, ever. And now he was asking them to hurry home and apologized in advance. Shota was worried the kid was dying. Of course, they couldn't really rush anything along since there was an earthquake. The magnitude was estimated to be a 7 plus the aftershock, making everything worse. It was a miracle there hadn't been more destruction. Normally, they didn't wait up for each other. Schedule of Shota's patrol far different from Hazashi's radio show. However, due to the disaster and neither of them having effective quirks, they were able to work together to attempt to pull their weight. Of course, Aizawa was sent off early due to his small disagreement with Endeavor. Another reason Shota just needed to back off and get home. Yahoo, the mute Carmen. A clumsy vigilante with absolutely no prior experience, a fast learner, someone Aizawa knew in his damn bones that had to be young. The one who kicked Hazashi in the ball was dead. Hey, Sho, ready to get out of here? Hazashi asked, shooting finger guns at the gloomy man. Aizawa saw right through him. His hands were trembling, and those glasses hid red-rimmed, puffy eyes. Every inch of him was covered in dust, blood, and dirt. Not that Shota was one to talk, of course. Warning, Shinso texted. Hazashi paled, and Aizawa quickly realized his mistake. He's fine, or he wouldn't have texted, but he showed his phone to the blonde. This was 30 minutes ago, Hazashi gasped, breaking into a brisk walk to the car. Let's go help him and whatever criminal he must be harboring. I doubt he's harboring a criminal, Aizawa snorted, sliding into the passenger seat of Hazashi's car. The loud man forced himself to drive the speed limit at Aizawa's insistence. I'm just worried, Sho. He never texts. Ever. I know. But getting into a car wreck won't solve anything. Aizawa reached over, setting his hand atop Hazashi's. Relax. We'll get there. Speeding right now isn't rational. Your face isn't rational. Despite the childish retort, he calmed at the physical contact, breathing out softly. Because Shota and Hazashi were just roommates who gave physical affection and occasionally slept in the same bed and also adopted cats together. and had a child living with them, which could mean nothing. Thanks. The light's green. Shinso, we're back! Hazashi called out, tone cheery despite the anxiety that had bled onto his face. Shinso jogged to them from the bathroom, and Shoto could see a wet spot across his ribs and hip. He prayed it was water. It's blood, but not mine. Shinso put his hands in his pockets. I owed someone for saving my ass a couple months back. He said to bring him somewhere he could get first aid, so I brought him here. Hazashi gasped before being hushed by both his roommate and his kid. He's in our house, he hissed. I already said sorry. Shinso shrugged. How injured is he? Aizawa sighed instead of pushing the purple hair to understanding the futility. Next to him, Hazashi was still freaking out, thankfully silent this time. It's bad, Aizawa, and that's only what I can see. Shinso furrowed his brow in worry. Silent for a beat, the underground hero understood what was going on here. Shinso was basically asking him, without asking, to go patch up this random guy. Okay. Aizawa pinched the bridge of his nose. I'll see what I can do. He's in the bathroom. Shinso shot him a grin, shoulders sagging ever so slightly in relief. Really, it made it all worth it. Not that he'd ever say that. Aizawa Shoto was not going soft. So Aizawa thoroughly washed his hands and set his capture scarf on the coffee table beside Terminator, one of their cats. Hazashi named it. He walked into the bathroom to see a teenager. He was absolutely filthy. No telling what color his hair actually was. Through the layers of soot, his mouth dropped when he caught sight of Shota. You're a racerhead, the kid squeaked, managing to pick up his jaw. That's me, Aizawa grunted, burying the surprise of being known by name. He walked further into the bathroom, pausing. The kid wore All Might boxers. His left leg was hidden by a blood-soaked towel. They must have been using it to keep pressure on the wound. His eyes caught on several other small cuts on his arms and legs, not to mention the blood stain on his shirt. He removed the towel covering problem child's left leg, almost grimacing in sympathy. Aizawa stared contemplatively, ignoring the kid trembling at his gaze. Do you care if you get wet? No, sir. He turned the water on, using a cup to begin gently washing the grime away from the wound. Aizawa glanced up to find the kid staring blankly at the kitten, unblinkingly. With a muttered apology, the hero poured a saline solution over the deepest cut. Aside from a hiss and shutting his eyes, he kept quiet. Shota could see tears leaking from his eyes. Too bad he hadn't even touched the cut on his thigh yet, not to mention the damn stitches he'd have to give. Kid, I could clean this and stitch them, but I don't have anesthesia like the hospital. Would you rather? No! The kid yelped before wincing. Please, no. If it's trouble, I can just leave. I'm so sorry for wasting your time, and I know you must be exhausted from saving people because of the earthquake, and it's fine. Are you? Yes, I'm sure. Curse Aizawa's parental instincts. The kid was shaking, now on the toilet instead of the tub. The kitten, named Stroke apparently, was crouched on the sink and watching Aizawa intensely. The man had instructed Deku, who the hell named their kid Deku, to remove his shirt, and God, he felt sick. The kid was covered in blue and purple bruises, cuts of all sort, all in different stages of healing. There was one the size of his whole chest, and Aizawa wouldn't be surprised if he had some broken ribs. All he got as an explanation was a sheepish grin. While he bandaged the smaller wounds, he discovered the kid was a chatterbox. Shota wished his own students would have such a drive to learn about quirks. Maybe next year. He'd know in a short 4 months. Do you have an intelligence quirk? Immediately, the kid's smile fell from his face, and he went quiet. Aizawa winced. All right. Sore subject. No. Okay. Shota wouldn't normally try to talk to a strange teenager that got his bathtub filthy, but he felt like he knew this kid. Something about him was just so familiar, but he couldn't quite put his finger on it. He'd ask Shinso later. That was the end of chapter 19 of So Keep On Going With Your Silly Dream by Piter on AO3. On to the next chapter. Chapter 20. I'm so sorry! Izuku woke up in pain. He shivered, his leg and chest pulsed in sync with his heart. He couldn't talk, couldn't move, couldn't think straight. He should have just stayed in that building. At least then he wouldn't be, hey, little listener, too loud. Sorry. The voice was still at too high a volume, but it was bearable now. Hurts! Izuku choked out, voice raspy. His eyes were far too heavy to open. A harsh cough tore out of his throat, causing him to groan. I know. I have some water and some medicine that'll help. Izuku felt a glass being pressed against his mouth, parting his lips to let the cool liquid soothe his throat. He swallowed the pills without complaint. Didn't hurt this bad yesterday. The other person chuckled softly. That would tend to happen when the adrenaline wears off. Izuku nodded off before he could say much else. He blinked slowly. Everything ached, but, well, he figured it could be worse. He was warm, and he felt so heavy. When was the last time Izuku laid on a couch? It had been months. He could feel a small weight laying against his stomach. He didn't have to open his eyes to know it was stroke. There was music playing from somewhere around him, playing softly in contrast to the harsh voices. Damn it, Hazashi. He's dead. That punk-ass vigilante was hit with a building that collapsed on him by Endeavor. They still haven't found his remains. Eraserhead snapped harshly, and Izuku could hear a cabinet slam shut. I know that, Sho, but we don't know he's dead yet. He could be. We said that about Oboro, too. Were they talking about him? Well, Yahoo, him. That is, who's Oboro? It was silent for a long moment. Izuku finally pried his eyes open, squinting at the white ceiling. He moved his sore arm until he could pat stroke. He felt softer and cleaner too. Had they bathed him? The small kitten began purring after the initial small surprised meow. I failed Zashi. I failed Yahoo. He was young. I know he was. I couldn't help him, not in the way that mattered. Izuku slowly pushed himself up, despite his injuries. He could see both Eraserhead, Shota, and present Mike, Hisashi, in the kitchen. The apartment was illuminated by the fading daylight from the window. It was dim, but not yet dark enough to warrant the lanterns. They were hugging. The normal, stoic, underground hero had his face smushed into Hisashi's shoulder. You didn't fail him. It wasn't your fault. Endeavor is a dick who needs his license revoked. I had talked to Yahoo. I know, Shota snorted. He kicked you in the balls. Izuku felt himself flush from where he sat on the couch, lying back down. He felt like he was intruding. He'd wait for a while before he let them know he was awake. Hopefully, they wouldn't think he was eavesdropping. No, well, yes, but I'd rather forget about that. I talked to him yesterday. You talked to the wanted vigilante. It was said flatly, somehow exasperated and fond at the same time. Yep, I gave him some McDonald's. Kid was ravenous. I was warning him that other heroes would be watching out for him. Hisashi. I know, illegal or whatever, but I like him. You spoke to him twice. You like him, and I like you. Anyways, I was leaving and he said thank you. He spoke? Yeah, he also cried when I told him you liked him. Were they really that upset that Yahoo had been killed? Supposedly. He blinked. Izuku didn't think anyone really cared anymore. Izuku tried to hold back a cough, glaring at the ceiling. It didn't work. There go his eavesdropping dreams. He coughed once again, and suddenly he couldn't stop. He clutched at his chest with one hand, coughing into the other elbow. He felt guilty when Hisashi was next to him. Sir. Izuku gagged on a cough, gasping, Sorry. You're good, Deku. Here. The blonde slowly helped him sit upright. He left briefly and returned with a bottle of water. When the fit finally passed, Izuku greedily gulped half the bottle before the hero made him slow down. I'm so sorry. What time is it? Around... It's 5:30, Shota called from the kitchen. 5:30? Izuku gasped. Oh no, I've been on your couch all day. Please forgive me. It's fine, kid. Don't worry about it. I'm just glad that you're awake and coherent. Izuku let stroke climb up to his shoulders. Before he removed the blanket, there was a thick layer of gauze wrapped around the entirety of his leg. He winced. So, what happened here? Mike finally asked, gesturing to the whole of Izuku's body. I got stuck in a collapse. I got away from the crowd, and I didn't want to go back, and I knew they wouldn't let me take Stroke with me, so I called Shinso. You named the cat Stroke? It could be worse. He defended himself, causing Hisashi to chuckle. Yeah, sure. Well, you can call me Yamada or Hazashi. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Yamada. It's really no trouble. Like I said, I'm just glad you're doing better. Something in his expression, or maybe his tone, made Izuku believe him. He'd never had an adult that concerned about him other than his mom. Now, let's get some food in you. Sir, you really don't have to. I'm already using your couch, and I got your tub dirty, and... That's the end of chapter 20 of So Keep On Going With Your Silly Dream by Piter on AO3. Thank you for listening, and hope you have a great day. If you liked it, please see the original creator.